What's up, nerds? The Immortal Nerd here, and welcome back to Let's Talk Anime, where we talk about anything and everything that is anime. Episode 4. And those of you who are on YouTube, number one, you're getting this late, and it is also a different setup. And I will tell you why at the end of the video. And number two, those of you who are on SoundCloud, and any other audio streaming service listening to this, you are getting this a late as well. So yeah, go ahead, a heads up on that, because I'm sure you guys was like, it's that Saturday for the Immortal Nerd to put out some content. Where is it? It's not here. I've been traveling to go back home for the Thanksgiving break. So I was supposed to have my content up today, Saturday, but the hotel that I was staying in, it just so happened that I guess technicians or whatever, they were working on the Wi-Fi, so it wasn't working then. So I couldn't access the Wi-Fi and do what I needed to do. So you're getting it late. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into today's episode topic, and that is Fairy Tail, the final season. Now, those of you who do know me and that have seen my previous Fairy Tail episodes, one was about Fairy Tail Zero, and the other one was a video about my favorite theme songs from them. And the other one I just remembered was a Fairy Tail quiz that I have done. So I'm a huge fan of Fairy Tail, very huge fan. And I have to say this. I do have to say this. I was disappointed in this last season. I was very disappointed. And maybe it's been because of, I always see, a bad rap about them on social media, being it, Facebook or Instagram. Those two are the main ones, especially in like anime groups. And, at first I never understood why it got a bad rap. Like, I understood why, but I didn't understand why they felt like that was a bad thing. I'm like, I guess, okay. But seeing it happen so much, and now having its last season, I can kind of I see what they were talking about. And it really didn't start to happen until the last season of the last arc with the Tartaros chapter. Like, I really didn't see it until then. And it was a specific part with Urza. She was fighting one of the demons. I forget what her name was, but she was the one that was torturing Urza. She's the one that liked to torture people. And pretty much she took all of Urza's senses away. She couldn't hear, she couldn't see, she couldn't feel, nothing. It was like she was in a void, or, almost non-existent, but she was still conscious. But she couldn't feel or see or hear anything. And she manages to beat her. So I'm like that's where I first saw it. Like, all the other times, I didn't see it. And it may have been because it's always Natsu that's up there. And whenever he does his, monologue or his speeches, they be fire. Literally, they be fire. And I get into it because I'm like, yeah, I'm with that. I feel that. And I have this strong sense of camaraderie or brotherhood, a bond between people. Things that I've have, or want. And that show shows me something that I had and also want in people. And whenever they display that and use that as a source of, power or energy, I get into it. I mean that that stuff is real. I mean, to be honest. I mean, to other people, it may seem like a huge plot armor. If you want to call it that, I guess so. But it is what it is. Whenever you're faced against, an opposing force that's threatening your family, whether they by blood or a bond, and you are, the only one who can, stand up to them, have the power to do so, you're going to do, unbelievable things. I mean, think about, a mother who's trying to save her child, or a father who's trying to save his child. They do unbelievable things, lift up cars, jump a 20-foot, fence or whatever, do crazy things that they normally couldn't do because they're trying to protect, family. And that's the message that I've always got. That's the message that I've seen throughout this whole Fairy Tail series. Now, later on in this series, in the last season, and for that last bit in the Tartaros chapter, I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Like, what's happening? There's something not right about this. Like there was plot armor. Like they needed to win just for the sake of, ending it. And I was like, what's going on here? So like, I didn't really pay it any mind. I waited for, the last season to come out. Maybe it would have been, it'll bring things back up. Started it out. It starts out, Natsu and Happy returns from their 1 year journey of training. And I think for like the first two, I want to say first 2 episodes, first 2 or 3 episodes, we're following Lucy. I was about to say Luffy, different anime show. We're following Lucy. We're getting a story about her, what happened during the time Natsu had left and before he came back. She started working for the what's that magazine place it's called? What's that magazine called? Wizard something? Wizard, the Daily Wizard? I don't remember. If you guys remember what the magazine place was called that Lucy worked at, put that in the comments below. But yeah, she started working there. But, outside of that, she's been trying to track down all of the other Fairy Tail members. Because during this time that Natsu had left, Master Makarov, he disbanded Fairy Tail. He disbanded the guild for the foreseeable future. Like, I don't think he planned on them coming back, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he banned the guild, like, indefinitely. And Lucy, she was going through, I guess she was being depressed, I guess you can say, because, being in Fairy Tales where, she got her start pretty much. Like, that was the guild for her, because that's where she wanted to be, in episode 1. That's the guild that she was looking for. And now they got disbanded with no hopes of, coming back together. She had to find something else. But yeah, anyway, after that, Natsu come back in. They, start to look for their old guild members, put the guild back together. All that good stuff happened. And they go through, different fights. And it's, like I said, there was something missing. And I didn't know what it was. I did not know what it was. I just knew something didn't feel right. Like, even when Natsu had his battles, like, 'cause his battles always gets me, hyped. 'Cause he's like, I love the voice actor for him. Todd Haberkorn, if I'm saying his last name right. I love him as Natsu Dragneel. I love his voice for him. He also did a good job with Death the Kid and Soul Eater. But with Natsu and Fairy Tail, I love his voice acting for that. He when he gets into it. I'm like, yeah, we got the Dragon Slayer now, baby. But in this one, I couldn't feel it. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, why am I not getting as hyped as I used to? Like, what is going on? Don't tell me that this is the best that they can do. And I'm like, maybe it'll change around or whatever. And it kind of didn't. It kind of stayed at this, stagnant position. And I kind of knew. I'm like this may not be as good as the last arc. Then I remembered. I was like, oh wait, cannot forget Agnologia because he's supposed to be in this last season too. And if y'all remember Agnologia, he wiped out the whole guild on Tenro Island. So yeah, like none of the Dragon Slayers that was in the guild could not, put a scratch in him. So he was the final boss of like the whole series. He was the king of kings, the dragons of the dragons. And I'm like, all right, this has got to be, big right here. I know this is gonna set it off, but it didn't. It did not set it off, and that is what made it very disappointing to me. The main villain, to me personally, was not given his due, and the reason why I say that because there were two villains or two antagonists in this show for the final season. One was the Black Wizard. What's his name? I can't think of his name. I cannot think of his name because I didn't really care too much for him. I'll remember it later on, but it was him and Agnologia, two OP villains or antagonists in the show, and both of them had to be defeated because it's anime, it's a shonen anime. They had to be defeated for the final season. And I'm like, and I wasn't really thinking about it, while watching it, that we got two main villains here. So how they going to end it? I was just thinking that they were going to have more episodes, but no, there's only I don't know how many episodes it has for the final season, but not enough. I can tell you that. Not enough for two OP antagonists against the Fairy Tail Guild. Dang it, I cannot remember that Black Wizard's name. He wasn't black, not like me. He's not black. That's his title, the Black Wizard, because he uses dark or black magic. So yeah. I cannot. Zeref. Yes, Zeref. Lord Zeref, the Wizard Zeref. That's his name. Yes. And this season, it's a bad mixer. It's a bad mixer. Like I said, I was very disappointed on how they treated Agnologia because I really liked him. He was the bad dragon man. Like he was the king of the kings. He was OP. Like he was nothing to be played with. Like he was something serious. Like he was going to be the person that would, actually have Natsu struggle, like for real. But they didn't do it that way. And I'm like, what? I'm like, man, that's you breaking my heart here. You're breaking my heart here. But no, they spent all their time with Zeref. And I can understand why, because if you've read the manga before, the relationship between Zeref and Natsu. And that's all I'm going to say. So they expound on the relationship between Zeref and Natsu, with flashbacks and then exposition. And there were also more twists or, pop-ups. That's the only thing that comes to my mind right now. But other, new information between other characters in the show, like Mavis, who was the first founder of Fairy Tail, who starred in Fairy Tail Zero. What else? Also other things about Urza. No, not about her. Not about her left eye. Not about that. No, not that. But more so about where she came from. Exactly. Other things. Another link between Lucy somehow and some other people. And also about the other Dragon Slayers. Gajeel, not necessarily Loxus, but Natsu, Wendy, Gajil, Sting, and Rogue. Those, how many did I name off? 5? Yeah, those 5. Yeah, those 5. New stuff about them that we learned. And again, some other, pop up, some exciting news that we didn't know before. But that's about it. That's all that, this last season was really about. Closure, I guess you could say closure on things. And that's not what I really wanted. I didn't want a whole lot of that. Or have it, but now use more episodes for this other bad guy that we got here. So I really didn't like how it was played out. So again, I kept wondering, why was it so bad? Well, it wasn't bad, but it was. I guess you could say it was bad. It was bad, but I kept through it because of Natsu, really, because of Natsu and Gray. And yeah, so I kept wondering why did it feel this way? Why did it feel this way? Like, not even the not even the Daedalus arc felt the way that I felt for this last season here. So I was like, what is the deal? Like, what's the problem? So I ended up, looking it up. And it turns out that the author of the manga, he wanted to finish Fairy Tail because he wanted to start his new series called Eden's Zero. And that's something I had mentioned in one of my other Fairy Tail videos. He wanted to start that new series. So the ending or last pieces of Fairy Tail was rushed. He rushed it in the manga, which, rushed for the anime and made it not good. And that's because he wanted to get it finished. He wanted to get it finished because he wanted to start it. He wanted to start on something else. And I could understand why you want to finish one project so you can work on the other, but you shouldn't lose quality in what you're already working on so you can work on something different. I mean, what would that do, for your fans or newcomers? So that was the reason why it didn't feel the way it used to feel. Hashima, I don't even remember his name now. This is all your fault, Mystery Man. But yeah, that's the reason why he rushed the manga, because he wanted to get it done to start on something else. So the anime was rushed, or felt rushed, because it was rushed in the manga. So yeah, so you can guess with the other OP antagonist, Agnologia, they had to do something. They had to use plot in order for Fairy Tail to defeat him. And surprisingly, his name isn't even Agnologia. That's not his name. We don't really know his name. And they make an excuse in there saying, I long since forgot my name, but the only name that's etched in my brain or in the back of my head is Agnologia. So that's who, that's the name he started calling himself. And then also brings up another thing, Agnologia, his backstory. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that. Shame on you for doing such a thing to such a badass villain. No, that's a no-no. The reason why I say this is because when we get flashbacks of how Agnologia, who's not really Agnologia, became the person that he was in present day, where he used to live, which was over 400 years ago. Where he used to live was a cohabitance between humans and dragons. Like they had a strong relationship between the two, the humans and the dragon. Like they actually lived amongst each other, talked, chilled, whatever. And Agnologia was a healer. He was a healer wizard. He was a doctor, pretty much. And he was a healing wizard to a certain dragon named Agnologia. In one of the flashbacks, these two they are they're quite close as friends. They're pretty, they have a deep understanding of each other. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to coexist peacefully in the land that they lived in. So they understood one another. And there was this talk that the actual dragon named Agnologia was talking to with the no-named character who now took Agnologia's name. They had to talk about a war that was going on in the other part of the world between humans and dragons, and the character that took Agnologia's name, he was like he was confused. Like he was like asking, why would there be war amongst humans and dragons? Like I don't understand. Why would this happen? I mean, we don't do that. What they do that at? That's pretty much how he was like. So you can see like he had a strong sense of, dragons and humans, living peacefully, prospering together. Like why would anyone want to fight between the two species? And the real Agnologia, he was like he's gonna go check it out to see what the problem is and everything. And they were like as I said, they had a close relationship. They was close to each other as friends. Like the dragon considered this no name wizard his dearest friend, like for life. And I don't know if it's true or not, but if you make friends with a dragon, they're pretty much friends for you for life. Even after death. That may not be true, but it's whatever. I'm making it up. I say it's true, so it's true. But yeah, so what I'm trying to go with this is that the dragon sought this character as his dearest friend, so the dragon would never do any harm to him or the people that he lived amongst. But soon after, I guess the war that was happening across country came to the place that this no name character and the other dragons lived. And we were seeing from his eyes the dragons that lived there with him were starting to attack other people that they lived amongst. And seeing all of this chaos and destruction, terror, horror, people, deaths, it changed him and made him hate dragons, made him hate his dearest friend Agnologia, and wanting to start killing dragons and dragon slayers, anyone who's befriended dragons, whatever, anything associated with dragons, he wanted to kill them. And I was like, why? Why are you mad? Like, why do you feel this way about dragons now? I'm like, yeah, your town is being destroyed by the dragons that lived with you, but and this no name character, I hate calling him no name character. They should have gave him a name, because making it hard to form our words in the sentences. But this no name character, he seemed to have been a very sophisticated individual. and he was a doctor pretty much. So I'm like, why? How could your mind switch so easily like that? And again, I understand, destruction of his village. I mean, I would be in distraught as well, but I would, I wouldn't automatically blame like the dragons for it. Like, not in that sense. Like, I'll see that the dragons are, destroying my village. I'll be, uh, caught off guard. I'll be like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to our people? Like, we lived together in harmony for hundreds of years. Why now? That would be my question. That would be my question. That would be going through my mind. Like, why? Why is this happening? Because I know for a fact that these dragons, especially my dearest friend who is a dragon called Agnologia, wouldn't just say, oh, I'm going to just go ahead and start killing. That's a problem there. Something happened. Something had to happen. And I don't believe that it will be expounded on. So this is complete theory. I believe that some other force was behind the scenes on this dragon and human war. Someone used some type of powerful spell to put these dragons in a, I guess you can say, natural instinctive behavior or berserker behavior. I'm gonna call it that. This berserker behavior to lose all sense of self and going back to a premortal sense of being. So all they would do is, do destruction. That would have been my thing. I wouldn't have just go ahead and straight up said, now I hate dragons. And I'm sophisticated in my mind enough to know that no, they're not just gonna change like that. No, that's not gonna happen. Why did this happen? Because this can't be complete fault to the dragons, especially the ones that lived with us in this part of the world for hundreds of years. Can't say anything about the ones that was on this side because I didn't live there. But the ones over here, I know for a fact they wouldn't do things like this. So why would they have this no-name character flip so easily? Why would they give him a weak backstory to become a bad guy? That I did not like. Because with a villain, it has to be a good reason for him to be a villain. And it needs to be a very solidified argument. This argument I could not accept. It's not feasible, but it's feeble. It can be broken. It's not strong enough. And yeah, I did not like that. So that's all I really got to say about Fairy Tail, the last season anyway. But yeah, it was the only like really good thing I could say about it is in the last episode when it was going off, they brought back the first opening theme as a closing to it. I almost cried. I'm like, I did not expect this to happen. But I'm like, I'm still mad at you. I'm still mad at you for doing what you did. I'm still mad. But I'm crying as well. Hateful tears. That's what these are. Hateful tears. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say for Fairy Tail, guys. I don't know if I'll read Eden's Zero. I don't know if it'll become an anime. If it does, I probably won't watch it. I don't know, because I don't want to happen to it like what happened to Fairy Tail. So I'll just stick with reading the mangas now. So yeah, that's it. That is it for this episode, you guys. So now to talk about what I had mentioned earlier in this video for you guys that are watching on YouTube. The reason why I do not have a face cam and all of my, nice bells and whistles for my background and all that stuff is because I am moving all of my new Let's Talk Anime content over to all audio streaming platforms, and everything else that would be on YouTube will be like a YouTube skits, not YouTube skits, but skits that I will make, short films and special video specials. So that can include Let's Talk Anime episodes where I'll have on like a special guest or something. That would be a way that Let's Talk Anime will come back on YouTube. But as of not as of right now, but that'd be saying the same thing currently. So as of right now, all of the Let's Talk Anime new material, as in the near future, will all be on audio streaming platforms for my podcast only. So those of you who are listening on SoundCloud, you guys are good. And also, again, new updates. I am on more audio streaming platforms. I am on Anchor, anchor.fm. I am finally on Apple. I cannot talk today. I am on Apple Podcasts. You can you can search me under Let's Talk Anime or The Immortal Nerd 2, I believe. I have to check that. I'm also on a service called Breaker, another one also called Radio Public. I am on Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So that is seven different services that you guys can watch me on. So I'm sure if you don't have one, you have the other. And let's see. I told you about all my things there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. And in no way, shape, or form that I'm doing this because of the whole COPA thing with YouTube. I didn't know about this until today. My plan for YouTube, I've always wanted it to be how I'm starting to do it, which will be in the new year in 2020. So that's when all of my LTA videos will now become strictly audio for all of those streaming platforms that I just mentioned: Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, and Stitcher. Also, so that's not the reason why I was doing it. I was doing it because I've always wanted it. My Let's Talk Animes to be a podcast style, and YouTube would be more, videos other than me sitting down talking into a camera. I wanted those to be more like a film, like you're actually watching a video of me, doing stuff. So more engaging content, I guess you can say. But yes, that is all of the news and updates that I have for you guys. If I have anything new or anything that I have forgotten to mention, will be mentioned in a next video of Let's Talk Anime. So that will conclude this here. So you guys know what to do if you enjoyed it. Like, share, subscribe. Get this out there to all the nerds in the universe, multiverse, and alternate dimensions. And I will see you in the next one. The Immortal Nerd, signing off.